Some games have a reputation too lofty for their own good, and I'm not sure how Tsugunohi found its way to being one of the most terrifying Japanese horror games of all time. But here we are with its Steam release, bringing together the previous chapters plus a couple of new ones. There were already free demos. In fact, these games were widely playable via other avenues for quite some time. This Steam release is more about the convenience of having it on one platform, and it's relatively inexpensive. Tsugunohi is a meme, not a video game, and it has the appeal of an urban myth akin to creepypasta haunted video games. There's plenty of reaction videos out there, and perhaps most find the idea behind the experience in the community or React video to be more interesting than the game itself, but then that's all there is to it. It's a meme to share around, mostly among gamers still in school. If you're a grown-ass adult making a big deal out of it, that's when the cringe sets in. And yet, I bought into the hype before getting into this review, and it's pretty embarrassing thinking what I built up in my head versus what I experienced. I'm not a fan of cheap jump scares, they're irritating, and playing one of the chapters for the very first time certainly does the trick, where the gradual anticipation and tension builds up to a well-timed scare. The problem is though, Tsugunohi is a one-trick scare pony, because once you play one chapter, the novelty wears off. The other chapters more or less follow the same structure and build up, so you'll know what's coming. It's a bit like that one steamroller scene from Austin Powers. All of the chapters are self-contained and you can play them in any order you like, although some of them are loosely related, not that it mattered anyway. There's no real storyline, as most of the chapters deliver urban ghost stories. Perhaps these tales are more effective in their original native Japanese context, but here they're a bit vague. In terms of actual gameplay input, players hold the left key to get the story protagonist to walk, one of them being a cat, and pressing another button to move the text along. Occasionally some chapters have a bit more interactive sections to click on, but they all play the same way, as the character goes from day to day to move the story along. The basic jump scare formula is the same in each chapter, where a range of sound effects, clever image planting, and sudden image changes are all used frequently to build anticipation until the eventual loud and dramatic jump scare. This big scare is usually in the form of a sudden change in image accompanied by a loud sound effect, a bit like those annoying viral YouTube videos from the early 2000s, and that's ultimately what Tsugunohi is, an early 2000s internet urban legend. When you play one chapter, you'll know exactly what to expect from the others, and so boredom sets in. Each chapter lasts 10 minutes, some longer and some shorter, with some even allowing you to save progress. But once you've figured out the basic pattern, they're all pretty drawn out, and even the intended sound effects fail to faze you. The visual presentation makes use of cutout images and surprises you with the occasional scary graphic. The sound design is pretty cool, to give credit where it's due, with various atmospheric sounds and occasional creepy music coming together effectively. This is definitely one to experience with headphones on if you want to get the most out of your pre-planned scare. Still, there's really nothing to Tsugunohi. Sure, it's an interesting artifact of Japanese internet culture, and if you're a fan of that sort of thing, then it might be worth sharing with your friends for a few scares and laughs. But beyond this, there's really no point to package and sell this on Steam. What makes things just a little worse is that you can't exit the title select menu when you want to play a different game. Instead, you have to close the game and relaunch it to get to the title select menu once again. Tsugunohi is not one of the most terrifying Japanese horror games of all time as it claims to be, not even remotely close. I'm sure the honor is just as made up as the urban legends. The basic jump scare structure is identical across the 9 chapters, so once you've tried one, you've basically seen it all. There's no real meaning or substance here, and the real horror is when the anticipatory fear transforms into sheer boredom. NoisyPixel is giving Tsugunohi a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at NoisyPixel.net. NoisyPixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
NoisyPixel.